This is John I, and I'm making kind of a record of what it is that I did wrong while I was working the steps of recovery. This one is how I worked step 5 incorrectly before I worked it correctly. Step 5, admitted to God, ourselves, and another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. So, admitted to God, ourselves, and another human being is 3 different directions that we're going to admit something. And we're going to admit the exact nature of our wrongs. I read that and thought about it just a little bit. But I relied mostly on kind of the common definition, which is this is where you meet with somebody and you review your written 4-step inventory with them. Maybe you read it out loud to them. Maybe you hand it to them and let them read it. But the point is, this is where you share with another person what you did in step 4. And it could be a sponsor. It's how I pictured it. Now I found that the secrets of the 12th step are hidden in plain sight. So when it says we admitted to God, ourselves, and another human being, I don't blame anyone who has trouble with the word God. At different times, there have been enough differences all over the world about what the word God means. I don't have to say more about that, but for people who work the 12 steps, we don't need to overcomplicate it. You can simply accept what you said earlier in the earlier steps. Step 3, we came to believe a power higher than human power could restore us to sanity. I'm sorry, that's step 2. Step 3, we turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understand Him. So here in step 5, we're admitting to the higher power that we talked about in steps 2 and 3. And the only requirement is that it be a power higher than human power. That will do. Now, in most religions, generally speaking, that's accurate. What they mean when they say God, they're not referring to simple human power. They're referring to something higher. So, how do I admit to God? That's a strange concept because as I understood God, He knows everything. He sees everything. So I don't have to admit anything to God. I don't need to tell God anything. He already knows. And when I went back through the steps and worked them a second time, I realized He didn't need me to tell Him anything. He didn't need me to admit anything. But I'd put it this way. I have been a parent of small children. If I come into the kitchen and the lid is off the cookie jar and there's my kid with chocolate chip all over their hands and crumbs all over the floor, and I say, "Did you take one of those cookies?" So I'm the parent and they're the child. The only reason I would ask when I can plainly see what's happened, what I really am asking for is to see if my child will admit it. do we have a relationship where the child will admit the plain truth or not? It's important to know that. I believe in a lot of cases a kid will say, "Oh no, I didn't take any cookies. That cookie jar was already open when I walked in, and I saw someone taking cookies, and I said, no, don't take cookies out of that. That doesn't belong to us. And I tried to take the cookie away, and I got crumbs all over my hand and my mouth, but I didn't eat any cookies. I was trying to do the right thing, Dad." Some kids would say that. Now, not all. And that child that I described is not admitting anything. So I would say to my child, I want you to tell the truth. I want you to admit you stole cookies from the cookie jar. I don't think it's that difficult to find what the definition of admit means when we say admitted to God. God already knows what we're admitting. But bear in mind, the important thing there is that we are admitting something. We're not informing God of anything, but we're establishing a relationship where we're going to tell the truth to God as we understand God. So, as an aside, why would a kid lie to their parent? Well, number one, they think they're going to get in trouble. They're going to get punished. Number two, they're trying to tell a version of the truth that they wish was true. Now that you've caught me, I wish it had not been me who ate the cookie. So the lie is really them trying to tell a version of the truth that's not true. So step 5, when I worked it the second time, I realized I had to tell the truth to one who already knows the truth. And that's something I was not used to doing. It's sad to say, I thought if I didn't admit it, then it wasn't true, even to God. So that was kind of the first thing I needed to straighten out about the way I was working the step, is that I'm admitting not just to this other person who's willing to listen to me, but I'm also admitting something very important to God. So, when I say I'm going to admit to God, I'm admitting it for my benefit, not for God's benefit. So, what about that next part? I'm going to admit to myself? What does that mean? I'm going to read step 4 that I wrote to myself? Well, the secret of 12-step recovery are all written in plain sight. I'm not going to read it to myself. I'm going to admit it to myself. Let me ask, has there ever been something that was absolutely true that you did not want to admit? You've been caught, but you don't want to admit you're guilty. I have. It can go quite deep. I can actually fool myself. I would say, well, I did take something from my employer, but to be fair, it wasn't really stealing, because you know what? That employer, he's stolen so much from so many people. Therefore, I'm not going to even talk about me stealing from them. That's not stealing. What they did was stealing. That's dishonesty. I'm not admitting the truth to myself. So in step 5, I'm learning how to admit the truth to myself. There's no but at the end of my admission. Oh, I lied, but. No, there's no but. I didn't do right by my family. Or I mistreated my children. Or whatever. I'm admitting what I wish was not true, and I'm admitting it to myself. That's not for God's benefit. I'm admitting to myself. I'm getting used to hearing the truth come out of my own mouth. Not the twisted truth, not the concealed truth. I gotta get used to that. It's an unfamiliar act. So I admit to God, to myself, the exact nature of my wrongs. And then another human being, well, what's that about? This other person. In step 2, we said we believe a power higher than human power could restore us to sanity. I don't hear even any mention of another person in that. So what's that about? Another human being. Well, a couple of things stand out to me the second time I worked the steps, the successful time. The step doesn't say I need this person to be my sponsor, or my priest, or my therapist, my spouse, my best friend. It does not specify who the other human being may be. That's a pretty broad instruction. I could satisfy that by asking a stranger to sit and listen to my 5th step. And after I had admitted some things to that human being, I would have satisfied step 5. That's how it's written. Then I would have admitted to God, to myself, and another human being. The truth is hiding out in plain sight. It is so simple. The first time I worked the steps, I overcomplicated it. That's after working step 5 wrong and not getting recovery. I now understand I need to work the step correctly. We admitted to God, ourselves, and another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. And the exact nature of our wrongs is revealed in the step 4 inventory in that short little list of our defects. After each resentment, and in the other inventory of fear, another inventory of harms done to others, there is a short little column with 4 defects that I've said yes or no to. That's what I admit to God, myself, and another human being. Those are my wrongs.